So today we are going to be talking about what it was like spending a year and a half in quarantine, and I don't mean any kind of quarantine, okay? First and foremost, hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you didn't know, my name is Maya. Welcome to this family. I'm outside right now. I'm in my car. As you can see in my car, I love my car. My family literally spent basically a year and a half not leaving our house, like, at all. We had our groceries delivered, we had food delivered, like, we literally went nowhere, you guys. Like, it was crazy. I was actually at college when this whole thing started, because, you know, it started in like March of 2019, and so I was in a review session for Gen Chem 2, and if you guys don't know what that is yet, be prepared, it's coming. Anyway, so I was in this review session and we were going over things, and all of a sudden, like, it all gets quiet, and I like look down at my phone and I'm like talk to my friend who's next to me, and I'm like, did you get this message too? Like, is this spam, or is this just me, or like what's really going on here? And so the message basically says, like, because of an impending COVID-19 that has come from overseas, we need to make everybody go home. So I was like, bet. So everybody was like in this review session, and we were like, that means this test is probably about to be canceled, because we were about to go on spring break anyway in a couple weeks, and so they just let us out a week early. We're about to leave or whatever, like, we're all about to be like, okay, so bye. And then the TAs are like, well, we're not doing this review session again, so you guys need to go ahead and get it over with. So everybody is like, no, God, please, no, no, no. We go ahead and get it over with or whatever. And then who? You thought I was about to stay? No, I go back to my room, I start packing my stuff. The way that my school worded it, like, I wasn't expecting to be gone for that long. I was only expecting to be gone for 2 weeks. I was expecting to come back after spring break and everything would be normal, everything would be peachy, everything would go back to how it was supposed to be. And that wasn't the case. And to this day, my stuff is still in Houston, Texas. I did end up having some of my more valuable possessions like shipped to me so that I didn't have to leave them in storage, but literally everything else is in storage. Anyway, I get home, and my birthday, because this is in March, and my birthday is in March because I'm a Pisces or whatever, but so my birthday is in March, and I'm turning 19 March 15th. You know, if you see this video in March, think of me, please, even though it's July. I spent my 19th birthday in quarantine. My family did their best to make it the best birthday possible in quarantine, but like, I couldn't do anything. Like, I was at home working, and I knew that I had an exam coming up. Even though the exam was pushed back, I still had an exam to take, and so I was still studying and stuff. Like, I was still on my grind and all that kind of stuff. Something that I expected to literally last for 2 weeks literally 2 weeks has lasted for almost 2 years, and I'm not here for it. I am very unappreciative. Let me just tell you guys some stuff that me and my family like did while we're in quarantine. For us, it wasn't just like a regular quarantine, okay? Like, for us, it wasn't like, oh, I just need to social distance, I just need to wear my mask, I just need to stay away from the general public. Like, that's not how it was for us. Like, my brother did not even come to see us for Christmas. Like, we didn't see any kind of family. It was just us against the world. Like, the 6 people that live in my household, it was just us. It was just us for almost 2 years. Luckily, like, my family is like agreeable. Like, we all like each other. Like, there's not any kind of like animosity between anybody. Little to say, our family was literally going crazy in quarantine. Like, we couldn't go out to eat like we used to. We couldn't go to a park. We were afraid to even step outside of our house. Like, before the CDC even said that like this virus was airborne, we did not leave the house. Like, we were inside all the time. So much so that my mom even built a little classroom in the back of our house so that we could go to school. And that's crazy because she thought about that before, like, we actually didn't go back. Like, we actually couldn't go back to school because, like, my little sisters, they did their schooling virtually. I did my schooling virtually this year, which was hard. I'm not gonna lie, it was difficult. Being a chemical engineer and really not having a whole lot of grounding or footing or resources, yeah, it was difficult. Let me just say, one thing that we did do that kind of kept us sane was we planned a quarantined vacation. This Airbnb in Gulfport, Mississippi. By this time, like, we had been in like COVID season mid-pandemic for I want to say like 6 to 8 months or something like that. Like, we had been in quarantine for a while before we even left the house. And when we did leave the house, we did like a no contact vacation because we were like, we don't want to see you. I'm not to be rude, but we just don't want to have any interaction with you when we haven't had any interaction with our friends and our family. And so we did like a no contact version of a vacation, basically. And the place that we decided to stay at, it had all the things that we needed, so we didn't have to leave. We literally just went and quarantined in another place. Like, that's all we did. And when we got there, literally, we were spraying stuff down with Lysol. We were wiping things down. We literally, like, we took the sheets off the beds. We wiped down the mattresses. We wiped down the bed frames and stuff. Like, we re-cleaned the kitchen. Like, we re-sanitized everything when we got there. We brought our own bed sheets, our own blankets with us, our own pillows, all this kind of stuff. Like, it sounds like a lot, but actually, we just need to get out of the house. Like, we just had to go somewhere else. Like, we were tired of looking at the same 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 walls in our house. So we really just had to leave. We really just had to get out of this place. When we came back, quarantine was not over for us. For a lot of people, it was like the world was like going back to normal. And I say that as if we stayed for a while, but we were only there for a week. And it was actually like at the beginning of my semester, so like I was doing school. But when we came back, we had a hurricane.
Oh my God! Wow!
We were one of the lucky ones who were just able to get away with like only having like a power outage, but that did mean that we didn't have any power, we didn't have any water. Like, the food in our fridge was what's the word, it was going bad, it was rotting. And so we were contemplating going to go stay at a hotel. And I know it's kind of like,
oh, well, you just went on this vacation, like, you should be happy, you know, to stay in a hotel.
But we've heard all of these people who are literally getting sick and getting COVID from staying in a hotel that they thought would be safe. And so we really did not want to stay at a hotel. So we were thinking, like, my mom has this office in the next city over where she does her work. And we were like, oh, we should just go stay there. But if we go stay there, we won't have a place to sleep. And we stayed in our house with no power, with our food like going bad. So we were like, and we didn't have it, like, we couldn't cook it because there's no stove. And so we stayed in our house for like 2 or 3 days waiting for the power to come back on. And I'm in school at this time, and so my classes are my classes are still going on, assignments are still being due, and yet I have no way of telling anyone that, like, hey, we were hit by a hurricane. And so I can't do that. It was a lot, okay? It was just a lot. I say all of that to say that our family did quite a lot in quarantine, even though we were still under lock and key. So much so that, like, we bought a lot of groceries. And I'm gonna see if I can, like, find the video that I took when we first got in quarantine, that I took of, like, all the groceries that we bought. And every single thing that came into our house, still to this day, every single thing that comes into our house, we spray it with alcohol, we spray it with Lysol, we spray it with some kind of sanitizer that has at least 70% alcohol in it. And it will not make it past our front door if it doesn't get sprayed. That includes us. Like, we get sanitized when we come in the house. Every single time we come in the house, we have to wash our hands. Every single time that, like, when I go back in the house right now, even though I literally just came to my car, when I go back in the house, I have to wash my hands. If I touch doors, I have to wash my hands. If I touch my thermostat, I need to wash my hands. If I touch anything that is touched frequently, like doorknobs and the handle on the sink and things like that, I need to wash my hands. And even though those things are sanitized regularly, even inside my house, I have to wash my hands. I'm just trying to emphasize that it was not just any kind of quarantine. Like, it was like lockdown. And because now we've been vaccinated, I mean, but little to say, I'm going back to campus in the fall. I'm so ready to go back and see my friends. One thing that I feel like is very essential to mention, and I almost forgot, I'm not gonna lie, is that my dad, haha, no pun intended, is an essential worker, or was considered an essential worker. And so during this whole thing, he was working, and so we were hyper vigilant because we were like, oh my god, we hope that he doesn't come back and bring like COVID into our house. For my dad to be around so many people, it terrified us. I don't think anyone in my family got COVID, but we did have a few scares every now and then. I just am so grateful. I will be so grateful for the time when COVID finally comes to an end, when everything can finally go back to normal, when I can show my lip gloss off in public because I'm tired of wearing these masks. Anyways, that's the end of my story. I hope that you follow me on social media, like, comment, and subscribe, and do all that good stuff. Leave me a comment down below telling me how your quarantine experience was, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Love you. Bye-bye.